Cold, bro. It's cold.
Yeah. So what? It's your boy, bitznbobz. Yes, people. This is episode 22. And listen, there's not an introduction that can do this guy any. Like, what can I say? This is Mr. Structure. This is Mr. Top Shelf Galaxy. This is Mr. I know my rights, and I'm gonna educate you. Okay? Simple as that. Nuradin, aka Mr. Structure, thank you for coming and welcome to bitznbobz Meets. How are you, my friend?
Bro, today I'm making my debut. Today is a debut day. I've been on the good, Mr. Good Vibes podcast today. Shout out Manny. Shout out everybody there. And then here I am, bitznbobz. Finally, brother. Finally, we managed to sort this out. Sit down. And yeah, you know what? Genuinely, like I said, we're like-minded spirits, kindred spirits. So I've been really looking forward to this, man. You know what? You know me, I'm busy. I'm a community person, so especially around where I live and stuff. So
100%. You know,
it's rolling up
in the north, Nuradin. Edinburgh meets Manny.
Love, brother.
But listen, yeah. Look, I know you're a busy guy, and I know the time obviously is of the essence. So we're talking about communities, the Man United community, Nuradin, and I don't know if you saw, but obviously I'm on the terrace. Okay, I'm the host of the United show, and we got together yesterday to discuss the West Ham game. And I actually said I like Martial, I like what he's doing and stuff, but I think we should sell him because on this season, okay, yes, he's been injured, and I said that, and I love Martial. He was top, but in this season, I don't feel he's basically. I think he's playing like we're not paying him. Personally, and I don't know if you've seen it, but that's what I said. But I also did say I like Martial. You know, when he's full forward on the left, he's not a centre forward. I think Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles can tell you that. Do you know? I mean, what do you think, man?
You know what? He's one of the best footballers, most talented footballers. I would definitely say. I think it's a lot about frustration. I can understand your frustration as somebody who's one of the original Martial FC. You know what I mean? I set up that club, bro. I set up that club. I birthed that club, bro. I think he's one of the most talented footballers. And under Jose, I did say him and Pogba are not going to fit in with Jose football. So I think it's time for us to sell him. I understand that the past couple of games he's not been himself. And sometimes players lose form. I mean, you played. You know, most of us who chat about football, I think, on the YouTube, on the United community, in terms of fans, I think you and Aaron have played at a decent level of football. Do you know what I mean? You've played at a decent level. So you understand what it's like when you lose form and what it's like when you lose form. For me, I'm not making excuses, but there's context to how sometimes his body language is, right? For example, Berbatov is another Man United player. Like you said, he looks playing like we're not paying him, right? Martial is so chilled. Like Berbatov is the last United chill guy we had, who was super talented footballer, amazing, player. But his body language doesn't scream. But I thought, on the whole, genuinely, I thought he played well last night. Last night's performance was something that we've been missing in the last performances. Okay, last night I thought he held the ball good. He won the ball. I thought when Telles was whipping the ball and he tried to get in there, even though he went totally wide with a header, he was trying to get in there. Obviously, he injured that brother because it was a collision. He made the run in at near post. So I was seeing things I'm not seeing. Last night, I mean, that guy there literally marked Grealish out of the game. The right back for Southampton. I forgot his name. He's one of these, I think, Czech brothers anyway. Yeah. And Martial tested the ball and flipped the ball over his head, bro, and was doing bits. But to me, as you know, football is confidence. I thought his best season was last season when he was the guy for us. He was linking the game. He wants things to feet. I want him to do more where he's in the box. He's either making runs in the center of the goal, far post, near post. I want him to score those ugly goals. But last night's performance gave me hope. But I understand why the frustration would be when we've got Cavani. Cavani's hustling, chasing players. But look at Martial's age, and then you're looking at Cavani. Cavani is the finished product and some. You know what I mean? That's who he is. And it's easier for us to compare. And then you also understand how destabilized Man United have been. That doesn't like for 2 years, him and Rashford, their growth didn't go up because they stagnated because of Jose Mourinho. But I thought Oli got the best thing out of him. I think the Rona's affecting even the footballers. I'm not making excuses for them, but
I hear what you're saying.
Everybody in a different way. But last night, I did see bits that... But it's not just been him, because Greenwood has been suffering from it as well. And Greenwood looked decent last night, even though I thought Everton game, he was back to the usual Greenwood. He was just missing a goal. So, Martial, I understand he can be super frustrating. To sum it up, he can be super frustrating, but I see a talent in there, and it would hurt me to think he goes somewhere else and he's doing literally bits. Yeah. He's doing bits.
Yeah. And you know what? You know, obviously the clips went viral. I've had some hurrahs, and I've had a few like people saying you're a clown, you're doing this for clickbait, and I find that funny. You know, when people say you're doing this for clickbait, like we haven't got stuff to do. We're on a panel, okay? We talk about football, and this is what. Is it controversial? Of course, it's controversial. I'm talking about Manchester United. Any phrase or statement is always controversial. Martial, and listen, Nuradin, I'm not even just trying to agree with you. I hear everything you're saying. And you know, when you talk about frustration, it's because I know what he's capable of, okay? And we always say attitude. And I hate that word when it comes to a black player, because it's always the first thing they say about black players' attitude. And I'm not even saying about his attitude. I just think, he's just not been as effective up front. However, when he plays left wing, listen, I'm with you. I'm in the trenches with you saying Martial FC. We've tried and tested them centre forward. And yes, you know, he had a great return last season. Fantastic return. But you and I know has to be consistent.
Of course.
You know, that's the thing. And I think he's been with us for 5-6 years now. Okay, albeit the 2 years that stagnated him. I just think, do you know what I'm thinking? Martial, give me something to scream, to be like, don't chat to me anymore about Martial. Do you know what I mean? Don't doubt it. And I had a guy tweet me, which I thought was quite funny. He was like, you're a clown talking BS. I just said to him, I was like, funny thing, football, isn't it? Everyone's got an opinion, whether you're right or wrong. And then I had another gentleman, I think his name was Rob or Cobb, I can't remember. And he was hitting me with stats, saying Rashford is better on the right-hand side, GA and so on. Now, I'm 31 years old, Nuradin, right? And I said to him, I tweeted that I don't argue with stats, because when I play football, it's on the eye. Is he good? Have you seen him play? Not what's his stats. Okay. Now, can you imagine a striker like Inzaghi's stats? How often did Inzaghi touch the ball?
No, not often.
Right.
Oh, when he touched it, it made the most crucial difference.
Yes, when he was scoring goals. So, like, I think about those kind of players, and I also think about people like Maldini, Nesta. How often did they actually tackle? Because what did they say? A good defender never has to tackle. You don't need your shorts to get muddy. So I just think to myself, I'm not arguing with the guys' stats, because look, you're going to tell me he did this and he did that. But on the eye, I'm telling you this is what I saw. What's your opinion on stats?
It's really interesting, because the stats can sometimes take away from what you see with your own eyes. So I think it's easier to go up the numbers. I think football has changed. I mean, I'm just a generation, maybe decade, I'm 9 years older than you, bro. You know what I mean? People get advice, you know what I mean? I think football, I think there's a danger where only stats can tell something. I think that's too mechanical. Football is more than the mechanics or the stats. Football is about grabbing the ball. It's about the artistry. It's the flair. It's the player that wants to get into there. You know what I mean? I think it might be good for people who want to analyze, you know what I mean, how many times United got the ball forward in terms of looking at the overall play. But I think Martial has given us, you said about those moments, don't talk to me moments, right?
Yeah.
Throughout his Man United career, he gave it us in his debut, you know what I mean? The debut that he had. He gave it to us, you know what I mean? A lot of the times where Mourinho would just throw him on to say, go on, Martial, do something. You know what I mean? Save my job. Even though I hate you, I want to sell you. Go in there and save my job.
Yes, exactly.
So the stats, to me, his stats is good for any up there in terms of assists. It's in terms of goals that he scored for Man United when he started. I'm talking about started from the game. But I do think Yes, like the me, one of the most frustrating two things, because I was always Martial FC, and you know when I'm coming down on it, it's the big game. So it's a game in the semi-final against Sevilla, where you kept missing sitters.
Numerous sitters, yeah.
It was the Paris Saint-Germain game at home, where he just had the best chance of the game. Like, it's 2-2. It's 2-1 to United before it was 1-1, and then it's 2-1 to United, and it's a totally different game. So, do I think he misses chances? Yeah, but all strikers miss chances. But
100%.
To me, he showed last season enough for me not to sell him yet. I think next season, if he carries on with this, and he's not bringing about that wow moment, then I just think Man United are not being stable enough to have a system to get the best out of him. So sometimes you need to have a system. You play football. Certain systems don't fit you. You ain't never going to fit him, bro, regardless how 100%. Much you're trying. And I think maybe the system is just not fitted him to get the best out of him. Stats, I think you could argue anything. You could argue on Martial when it comes to stats that he's not good enough. But you can also argue using stats that he is the best thing since sliced bread. So it depends. It really depends. I don't tend to go too much on the stats, but nowadays the football fan will just tell you, but the stats say this.
Yes, yes.
Football is more than the stats.
Exactly, and I'm glad you said that. And that's not me saying that people with the stats are right or they're wrong. No, what I'm saying to you is that, for example, I had a nice conversation with a gentleman from FX Cuts, the host of it, and he was saying to me, he was saying that like some players in the under 23s or the youth will dribble for the sake of dribbling because of stats. Do you know? Yeah. They'll run at a defender 3-4 times. So that 3-4 times, they can say they had 75% accuracy. Do you know what I mean? For something when I'm just like, for when I played, I'll be like, when I say run at your man, this is what Nuradin, I'm a big fan of yours, and I always say to people, "Oh, you can't just run him." When I say run him, I don't mean run towards him. It means beat him one-on-one. Isolate yourself one-on-one. Where if you're a winger, for an example, Martial or Rashford or Daniel James or Greenwood, stay wide, make him pinpoint him. So it's one-on-one. Then you run at him, and when we say run at him, beat him one-on-one. Use your skill, your pace, your power. Because if you beat him, that person, the opposition, he doesn't want any of it for the rest of the day. He's going to kick you. He's going to foul you. Then mentally, you're going to get into his head. And that's what I mean. And that's what I mean about stats when I say, like, oh, he had this conversion rate. I'm like, well, he couldn't cross past the first man. So, do you know what I'm trying to say? But we're talking about systems, Nuradin. And we have a Dutch Milky Way kid in our squad. And let's do a little introduction. I mean, he came from a great schooling football club, right? Ajax. We know Ajax, Van Basten, Cruyff, okay? Bergkamp. David, Cedar, the Boer twins. Do you know what I mean? There's a list of great footballers.
Zlatan.
There you go. There's a great list of footballers that come from that football club. And let's not forget, Cruyff went to Barcelona with the same philosophy that we see Pep Guardiola emphasizing. Van de Beek here is a good football player. There's no doubt about that. He's a very technical, good European experienced internationalist. The list goes on, Nuradin, right? Now, he's at Man United. Whether it be at his own fault or the economics and the financials of this world that a certain club, Real Madrid, couldn't get him. But he's our player now, okay? So we embrace him. Where I'm going with this, Nuradin, why do you think, in fact, before I say I think the reason why I think it's not happened as yet is because he has to adapt, we have to adapt to him, but I feel like he's still trying to get himself into the team to say, I'll do that, I'll do this, to play. And obviously we're playing a certain way. Some people will say we don't have a system, but in my opinion. What's your thoughts on Donny van de Beek?
I thought it was a set-up last night. I thought Ollie set him up last night. I think that obviously Man United Ollie understands the club for Van de Beek to play, to start. Obviously, it's the beginning of the first game that Pogba's missed due to injury. And I thought it was a setup last night. When you're playing him in a midfield three, like you're playing like 2-1 and then playing, you know, the top three up front, Martial, Rashford on the left, Greenwood on the right, you are basically setting Donny van de Beek up for a failure because he's not that type of number 10, bro. He's not the type of number 10 like Bruno who gets on the ball and who's doing, especially when you got those two guys, when you got Matic, who's just gone, right, and Fred, who's basically in the last couple of games, who's come off his levels. He was on a high level, and Fred has just come off those levels at the moment, especially on the ball. Fred was giving the ball away. It was like square, too many sideways passing.
Yeah, in possession, Fred was really
I think this is where we think. I'm just going to open up just to let a bit of air in.
Nuradin's hotting up the place, guys.
Yo, just with his lights and everything else. So basically, what I see, Van der Beek is he is a system player. So he's, in terms of system player as a number 8, he's not the traditional number 10. He's not your traditional number 10. We're talking about the Roberto Baggios, the Del Pieros. Yes. Now Bruno, what Bruno's on, like the Zidane. Zidane was that like that number 10, the Kaká. He's not that type of guy. He's a one touch, two touch. The best thing about Donny is his makes space. He finds the incredible space even when there's packed 9 like it was last night in that first half. Couple of the times where he got caught offside is because he was finding his thing. And he wasn't offside by miles. He was just barely off. And because the players don't understand, the Man United players don't understand the timing of his runs. So they're not giving the ball in early because they know that he can find these channels. He's a goal scorer. He's a goal-scoring midfield player. That's who Donny van de Beek is. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last night served him up for all of those fans who have been begging him to play and said, here, guys, he's only in the team. He's going to take Bruno's position, which is the most impossible position in the team because Bruno doesn't get injured that often. Touch wood, he doesn't get injured. He's the guy. He's the guy that plays there. Donny can play as a number 8. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't want us to know because Donny, when I talk about stats, his running stats are up there when he was playing for Ajax as one of the best midfielders in the world. In terms of like tracking back, defending, he's got energy, he's got the fitness, he's quite tenacious in the tackle, he can set things off. If you looked at some of the goals, so for example, I'll give you 2 goals, right? One against Newcastle where Rashford set up Bruno, and then Bruno bend it in. Who wins the ball? Who tackles, gets the ball, then plays it to Bruno. Bruno then to Mata. Mata then sends Rashford. Rashford then plays Bruno in, right? Yeah. Again, I'll go another goal. Against, who was it against? We were at home at Old Trafford, and it was Liverpool game, right? Liverpool, Pogba wins the ball, right on the centre of D. He gets fouled. Who's there to pick up the ball? Who's there that plays that pass out into Rashford, forward into Rashford's into space for Rashford? Rashford then looks up, hits a diagonal ball to Greenwood. Greenwood then scores. So what I'm saying to you is that Donny van de Beek is that touch football that can find the space. He's very economical with the ball, but it's about a system kind of player. He likes to play one touch, two touch football, and move the ball. And then he arrives late in the box, or he finds the space in the box. Now, Man United didn't play like that yesterday. When you're playing Matic and Fred, you ain't never going to see the best of Van de Beek. You're never going to see that.
And you know what? You said about the runs. Though I remember another Dutchman that joined our club, and we had the same problem, but Fergie addressed that straight away. Fergie said if you don't find Robin van Persie's run, we'll drop you. You won't play. Now, I'm not saying no one's going to repeat the way Fergie is. However, we saw the runs. We saw what he was trying to do. And it's like, why you're not passing him? Now, you could say that's Ollie's problem, or you could say that's the individual player, because the way I see it is this. When I played football, we were told to trust our colleagues, our teammates with the ball. And, back in Italy, when I say back in it, when it was on Channel 4, people were getting passed in tight spaces, one touch, two touch. And I think to myself, I like Donny van de Beek. I can see what he brings, but I need to create scenarios for him to excel in. Now, what you said earlier with the 3 and playing in the 10, and if you've got Fred, Personnel, Matic, that are not going to pass that ball forward to Donny van de Beek, because we saw examples. He was deeper than Matic. Sometimes he was coming in to get involved. And for that, what that tells me is that his intelligence is that I need to touch the ball. I need to get a feel of it. Let me dictate. But you need to bring the ball forward. Do you understand what I'm saying, Nuradin? Bring the ball forward so I can affect the game. And I did feel for him. And I think it will come. It will come. It's time and adapting. And, you know, there's always the first year grace period, isn't it? You get a grace period. I mean, Fred had it and so on. I just think we've got a special player, and unfortunately, it's just not happening. That's it. It's just one of those things.
It's not happening because I think it's become a massive thing with the manager now. I look at it and think the manager wanted Grealish. He got given Van der Beek. Yeah. That's a Man United. That's a club signing. That's not an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signing. They said to him, "You're going to get Van der Beek. Do you want Van der Beek? Yes or no?" And he's like, "You know what? I'll take him," because he remembers the season before when we finished 3rd on goal difference, just to beat Chelsea to 3rd. The fatigue of Bruno, and that's why we in the Europa League we were struggling, and in the league we were struggling because the fatigue was catching up because that first 11 and Ollie has to make use of these players on the bench. Now that he's got a bench, the Telles, the Van der Beeks, you've played football. I'm sure you've been injured when you used to play professional football, and I'm sure that sometimes that you lost form and then you were put on the bench. Unless you were given 7 or 6 games. Remember, like Fred. What happened to Fred?
Yeah.
Fred got given 10 games in a row under Ollie because of Pogba's injury. Boom. Fred found his way. Van der Beek has to be the number 8, and he has to be given that amount of time for him. And as you know more than I do, I never played at your level. You know that you need that consistency and the trust and the patterns of play. Even forget about the coaching. It comes naturally when you play and play. So if you're playing with Shaw will know what runs he's gonna make. Wan-Bissaka will know he likes it inside, and then he'll know that he'll get that quick 1-2. He'll get it back to you, or he'll turn away and then give it to you. So all these patterns come. They all come. But for me, it's a travesty, and it really hurts because I know how much of a good footballer he is.
Yeah.
It's just like free Van der Beek. Free Van der Beek on the football pitch. Forget him freeing him from the bench. Now that you've freed him from the bench, free him in the game.
Yeah, let him express himself.
And get proper ballers around him and give him that 7 or 8 games in a row that he needs.
100%. And guys, obviously, I don't remember to say this, but I am remembering to please smash a like, share the video. Obviously, at the end, I've seen the comments. The last 10 minutes of the show, we'll get your questions into Nuradin, because obviously everyone knows about Mr. Structure and his football knowledge. Right, so obviously we talked about systems and stuff. Okay, now we go back a game prior to the West Ham game. I beg your pardon. Yes, the Everton game. Do you know what, Nuradin? I'm glad you laughed because it's one of those ones where you cry or you laugh, and you just have to laugh, right?
I always say that. Ask Aaron and Saeed. I always say that. What we can do, we either cry or laugh, and I choose to laugh because there's too many serious personal things we can cry about. But when it comes to football, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to rant, and I'm going to laugh.
So like Axel Tuanzebe came on. Now there's different arguments, let's not say arguments, different opinions on that. Ollie shouldn't have put him on. Wrong signal to the team or to the opposition. Axel probably wasn't in the right frame of mind. You know, I say to people when I hear about that frame, you know, sometimes for some players it's different. Some people just want to play. It's football. This happens. You make a mistake, we move. You know what I mean? He obviously committed the foul. Obviously we conceded and so on. But what I knew was coming was the racial abuse he was going to get. And this is quite sad. Obviously 2020 was an eye-opening year for many organizations, many communities, society itself. Now I feel like if you're black, or in fact I'm going to go further. If you're not British, white British, I think if you have a bad game, I feel like, in fact, no, it's not fewer, it's facts. You're going to get racially abused. We know the social trolls, the bullying and so on. People, the banter between rivals. Yeah, but now it's actually deeper now. People are going under these people's social medias, Instagram, Twitter, with the monkey emojis, calling them the N-word, you black this, and so on. Nuradin, like, the thing is, like, the respect where I was brought up, like, when people like yourself speak, I listen. So I just want your thoughts on this new wave of racism towards the black players. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, come on, I don't have to tell you too much, brother. As you know, you're a black man living in the UK, so you've experienced racism. You know what racism is about.
Yeah,
it might be a shock to other people who are not black or who are not brown. You know what I mean? Racism is a thing that bigotry exists out there. There's homophobia, there's transphobia, there is, you know what I mean? There's xenophobia. All these things exist. But I believe that this kind of trend that's been happening in the past couple of years of social media, they all get their cues, bro. It's been happening, in the media. There's a lot of dog whistles. There's even commentators or the certain pundits that will be use the same kind of words to describe black players and say, and people are more harsher on black footballers than they are on white footballers. I'll give you an example. For example, Harry Maguire was he was the fault for that goal, right? He was the fault for that goal.
Yeah, because he kept them inside.
Because he's one of the England's top centre halves, and plus it's a centre half association. Jamie Carragher on Monday Night Live Football, I seen the clip. He's doing such a mental gymnastics. He's like, he was scared, but he wanted to be brave. He wanted to be brave, and I'm like. And then Jermaine Jennings last night, where West Ham didn't have any attacks at all whatsoever, other than our own mistakes, right? Jermaine Jennings gives Harry Maguire the man of the
match. I couldn't believe that.
It's just a way to lift him. And then we blame all De Gea. For me, I said it on the Straight Jacket podcast. Shout out Saeed, shout out Aaron, shout out everybody who comes in, and shout out Flawless and all the rest. I said it then. I'm done with De Gea. I'm done because you know what? I was one of the first to defend him because I remember at times with De Gea, we were like, we could have got relegated. We were in relegation form if it wasn't for De Gea saves. But anyway, I don't want to think about I'm just setting the trend for you. Like, I'm setting an example, right? So there's certain players who get all of the stigmatization, who will get all of the abuse. But this trend is easy. It is super easy for the social media companies to be able to erase this. For example, if me and you are watching a match, if we're doing a match along, and we turn the phones or our laptops towards the TV, and they get a 5-minute clip of it, and you posted it to your social media network, social networks, that video will be taken down straight away. Why? Infringement, copyright infringement. So why can't? I'm not asking for people are trying to overcomplicate it, brother. They try to overcomplicate it. Sometimes it's the algorithm that's doing this. So that straight away you take a Sky Sports match or a BT broadcast that's been live, take a photo, put it on your social media, and then copyright infringement. That is the algorithms that's doing that. Why can't we have algorithms for any racist words being used, any of the emojis? So you can have algorithms to take out emojis and to take out racial words. You don't need private, you don't need to have a passport or a driving license. So people are like, that's the only people that should have media. I'm a believer, truly, even though it's abhorrent, I'm a believer there is freedom of speech, right? So somebody could say something derogatory to me, but there are laws against that in terms of if that person, it is who it is. But for those people who are hiding, so these are people who want to show, this is who I am. I am something Graham something, and I'm racially abused to you, or I'm racially using racial violence or stoking up hate against you. There are laws in the UK that deal with that. But I believe that these races exist in society. It's not a football problem, it's a society problem.
This is what I keep saying to people.
But there is a section now of football troll, we call it trolls, football trolls, that are used to attack black footballers straight away on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. You know what I mean? Mainly, I think it's Instagram, and it's on Instagram and it's on Twitter. Mainly, that's where people get abused. And all those two companies have to do is to basically put the algorithms that will remove any racial slurs. Because I think Tuanzebe is playing for Man United. It's one of the, you know what I mean? He's made it as a professional. He's not going to be, yes, of course, it hurts when you look on your social media when you want to interact with the fans and you see barrage of racial abuse. But real racism exists out there. People being denied jobs. Racism is institutional, it's structural. If, for example, if somebody was to call you, me in Manchester or you in Edinburgh, you go out of your house and somebody's like, you effing, blah, 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 you know, we know the racial terms, right?
Yeah.
But they keep doing it. So you go out the next week, they're up there again. A couple of days later, they're there. That is a thing where they use dehumanizing language. Next minute, they're going to physically assault you and your family. That's different. But to me, the most racism I'm scared of, institutionally, I'm scared of the health service, racism that's in the health service, because that could cost me my life.
Yeah.
I'm scared of coming into contact with the police and the probation and the prison service. I'm scared of that. Anything to do with the courts, I'm scared of that because they could wreck my life. They could literally wreck my life, right? So the institutions, the structural institutions, people that can deny you jobs or opportunity, that can literally have a harmful long-term effect on your life as a human being, those the type of racism that, but when we talk about that, nobody wants to listen because that's harder racism to spot and to find solutions to. But it's easier to go, that kid is being like the guy he's 12 years old, 12 years, a baby is racially abusing Ian Wright. You know what I mean? He goes on the Ian Wright, I mean, I tell the stories that he plays computer games. He's there, Ian Wright's not scoring. I think it was FIFA or something, or manager. Then every time he got up there and he thought, right, I'll go on, because it's to get an attention as well. There's an aspect of trollery and attention seeking. So really, the racism is in society, it's in all aspects of society. It's not just a football problem, it's everywhere. But society is not fully ready yet to really deal with racism. We've seen the Black Lives Matter. We've seen after what happened with George Floyd, when the statues came down. You see the backlash that we've had from British society as a whole. Not institutionally from the governments. You know what I mean? One of the government ministers like, the only person I bow to is my wife, or I'm taking a knee, or for the Queen, or whatever. I'm not taking in, you know, all of these different things. So it shows that society doesn't want to deal with racism. And your son, I don't know, he's 3 years old, right? When he's in his 70s, I put money on it. People are still going to be talking about same race because it is a cancer, it's a pandemic. Black people are suffering from it. Historically, it's there. Well, I don't need to go through it all. The history is there. Nobody wants to deal with history. Nobody wants to educate people fully. Because I'm a believer that people can be racist. They can rid the racism of themselves if they want to, and if they're open to being educated. But the society is not about that, bro. Society ain't got no time for that. Society is all about, we're moving along. Britain, Great Britain, put the great in back in Great Britain. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Everything that comes with it. You know what I mean? And then you've got political figures who are using dog whistle racism to carry favor with large swathes parts of the British public. So we're never going to win. And then you got the media. Media is there to protect the status quo. Let's not rock any boats.
Yes, exactly.
That's how it is. Yeah, that's how it is, bro. The realities are all there, bro.
Do you know what it is? The realities are all there. And do you know, like, I'm of where I work, I'm the leader of the BAME network. I created it, believe it or not. And so it's the first one we've ever had in my organization. And do you know what's funny is just that, like, from doing YouTube and also from playing football and watching football, I've come to the conclusion that, like, race has always been there. Obviously, nowadays with technology, it's been recorded now. But these companies, they don't care. And this is my opinion. They don't care because financially it doesn't affect them. Right? And I said, all the black players in the Premier League should stop playing football. Right? When I say, I don't mean like go mutiny or anything like that. I mean, say to the FA, well, do you know what? You do the kick it out, say no to racism, red cards racism. You do the kneeling, yeah? I think it's stupid Because do you know why, Nuradin? Let's hear me out, yeah? If you've got all this money that you collect from the sponsors to say no to racism, you saw the new advert, I'm in to Stanford. That's a load of rubbish. You've got so many people to say on screen, I'm in. Some of the people they've got in that video are controversial themselves. My point is that, like, why not use that money in a place where, in all the clubs, that once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month, someone goes to these clubs and educates them, and not just says, like, for the foreign players as well as the homegrown English players, because we know what communities and neighbourhoods and cul-de-sacs and estates, we know how they talk. Do you know what I'm trying to say? We know the language. Now, the thing I love about America, because in America they're intelligent, they're very smart with their words, intellectual, and they speak freely. Now, the funny thing about football, some of them are robots. Yeah, how was the game? Yeah, it's all about the team game. No, but they never touch on the serious points, and this is what I'm getting at. If we can have someone or an organization that comes in and trains these people on language, history, okay, relevance, political correct, and also just basic unconscious bias training, okay? Now, you have someone that teaches all this, you slowly start to see dilution and change. That's it. You start to see, because these people are like, wow. And let's make the punishments severe. Not just, how can the Leeds goalie get banned for 8 games, but Oana, the Ajax goalkeeper, this is a drug test, is banned for football for 12 months. What's a drug test that he can do the next game day, or he can do later on that same day to someone admitting being racist? So as a non-ethnic player, you might as well just be racist then.
Of course.
You're only going to get banned for 8 games.
Listen, we talk about John Terry clapping at the 26th minute. I think that his number, wasn't it? Yeah. Liverpool wearing all the T-shirts to defend Suarez. We know that. Actually, sometimes the actual fans get harsher, even though they're the ones who need the education more.
Yeah,
the fans get harsher. Like the guy who did the monkey chants, I think, at Fred in the Derby game. Was it last season? He lost his job. The internet went and reached and all that. But that would have been a thing. An association should be set up to reform racists. You know what I mean? So then they can go and talk to other racists and stop being racist. But that's not set up. There's no association that's set up to reform fans who are racist. And when the clubs, we talked about the companies. Companies don't care. These clubs don't really care. It's all lip service. The whole diversity thing is the lip service. The whole BEM thing, even the word using the BEM, even somebody came up with that algorithm, right? No, the anagram, BEM, right? No, Black, Asian, and other ethnic minorities are different. Black people experience racism differently. Even Black people, we experience racism differently in terms of class. We experience racism in terms of gender.
Yeah,
we experience something because of sexuality. We experience racism because of, what I mean? Like,
when we talk,
the Black upper class person, you know what I mean? We experience racism totally differently. So how are you putting together all of the different Asian community, where you got the Chinese, you got the Korean community, you've got Bengali, the Pakistani, Indian community. They're all affected by differently. Yeah, white racist people just see them. You know what I mean? Racist people just see them. Will just say race things because they think they're all the same or whatever, right? But they all experience differently. Like, they experience racism differently. But then you put in all those together. So basically saying, none of you just are white. Like, this is your thing. You're like, no, we're all different. We're all different. Exactly. So for me, is that they don't care. The government don't care. The companies don't care. They have to be seen to be doing something. That's why you get amen. Amen.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
No, when I seen that, I was like, "Are you joking me? Who is in the room, right? Making these ideas? Who are you pitching these ideas to and in? But you know what though, right? This is the way society is. If you see it on the TV, they automatically think, yeah, this person is against your Sky Sports or against racism. No, you're not. You're not. And you know, like, I live in Scotland. It's a very diverse place. There is racism that happens, 100%. Racism happens everywhere. And people that tell you it doesn't, they're lying to you. Because ask to see their WhatsApp groups. Ask to see what their language they use. And then ask them, what do you think about me? If you didn't know me, how would you address me? Do you know? Moving on. Segueing towards lockdown, mental health. Obviously, I know you're very massive in the community. Another lockdown. How are you coping?
Yeah, you know what? We all struggle, innit? We all struggle. I live on my own, but then I live in a community. And actually now, because of COVID, there's a new variant in my area, in Hume, where I am, south central Manchester. So tomorrow I'm gonna have to take a test in my gym, actually, where the gym is, just down the road, really. So yeah, and it's making even more isolate. There's a couple of people, elderly people, who've got, you know, all sorts of medical conditions, and they're the ones that I was going shopping for when I go out shopping or, you know, do something. So they're feeling quite isolated, and it's been really tough. I'm a very extroverted person. I'm an energy person. Music and football are my real therapy, bro. So going out, dancing, it's a thing. You know, I'm East African, so dancing, you know what I mean? As African, it's in our blood, innit? It's part of it. Music is a language. Dancing is a way to be. It's a way to be. So meeting up with people, because I'm not, I don't drink and I don't smoke and those kind of things, because I used to play football, and football was a lot. So you didn't smoke, you didn't drink, you didn't do those.
You didn't do anything that, bro. It's forbidden.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, the things that I would cope with stress with, because stress affects us all in different ways, was music and football. And I've not been able to play. But Man United brings his own stress, you know what I mean? Watching Man United, it's like, you know, have you ever watched those films? Like, watch those films where the person is a double, so there's a bad version of them, and there's a good version. Yeah. That's what Man United are. Man United on a given weekend can either ruin your weekend or can make you happy in that weekend. And so my mental health is something that I'm becoming more aware of. It's something that, you know, is affecting me, but luckily I can get out on my bike. I've been cycling about. So the days where it's sunny, I'm out there all day. You know what I mean? I'm out there all day doing it. So that's what to me is a thing, is to get out, is listen to music, is read books if you like. It's finding your own therapy, you know, finding your own therapy to cope with what COVID and what's coming down the line. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how effective. Nobody knows these vaccines, how effective they're gonna be, because some people think that vaccines are gonna just tomorrow. Everybody's gonna take the vaccine and then we're gonna be back to everybody in life. Go back to normal. It's gonna take a really long time. It's gonna take a long time. So
well, I hope. Obviously, you are coping, and obviously, as we all say, the DMs are open and stuff. But I mean, when I say the DMs are open, and also we exchange numbers, we talk. Actually, what I say to people, Nuradin, is that actually be the first person to send the message.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? I've got a couple of groups. Okay, the wrap up, back to back WhatsApp group chats. I've got the football terrace, the United show one, and it's like, you know, when we're all just talking. I'll message people, how are you doing today? You okay? And you'll see the difference when someone replies, you know, because you like, oh, you can see that they're glad I've asked them, how are you doing and stuff, you know. And, you know, some people are like you, Nuradin, they do live alone, you know, and some people can't cope with that. And it's tough. So I salute you, big bro. I do. I really salute you for it.
Listen, sometimes when it gets a bit too much, I go to the mirror, have a word with myself, bro. And I start laughing. That makes me laugh. So I'm like, frustrated. I go look in the mirror and I start talking to myself. And then I start realizing how mad it is. And then that just gets me in a good mood. So I'm like, when it gets a bit too much, if you live alone, those of you living alone who's watching, You know what? Like I said, look after yourselves and look after your family and look after those that are in need. But when you're struggling, humor is a big thing. Humor is a big thing. So I watch comedies. I'm a big film guy. So I'm into independent and world cinema. So I try to find films. But it's really interesting. I started to do it now with my friend. Is we'll be watching a film where we're on the WhatsApp chatting, talking. So we'll be on the phone talking.
Engaging,
yeah. You know what I mean? We'll have a breakdown because I miss going to the cinema because I really loved enjoying that, how different views are about the film. So like the football, everybody's got an opinion. Certain things, we could watch exactly the same thing and come to a different conclusions. So that I enjoy. And I'm a people's person and I miss the energy of my friends and just being around people. I'm an extrovert. I'm an extrovert. I'm a people's person, so I miss that side of it. But Man United, on the whole, they've been keeping me afloat. But sometimes the dip is there in it.
Listen, I mean, I think we've got a snippet of what it feels like to be an Arsenal fan. do you know what I'm trying to say? Third thing, we're talking about music, right? That's one thing that we Africans, I call it swag, something we Africans got. And for me, it's music. Okay, and now this is me being very biased to my people, to our people, because when we hear music, you could be in the shower, wherever, the street, waiting for the bus. That right foot, that left foot, the shoulder, the head's gonna bob. Do you know what I mean? Like,
bro.
And for me, from being a host, MCing and stuff, and doing concerts, clubs, whatever, with COVID lockdown, you so forget how much the joy music brings to your life. Like being able to, I listen to Afro beats, Nigerian music, Niger beats from Davido, Wizkid, and then I'm very open. I'll listen to some Ibiza bangers. Do you know what I mean? Some house music and stuff. What music do you listen to, Nuradin?
I really enjoy. I like some of the Afro beat, obviously Davido. I'm more of a what's his name? Burna Boy. And I went to see him live. I went to see him live actually, and I love the vibes of his. Have you ever seen him live? Have you been?
Unfortunately, I haven't, but he actually speaks the same language as me.
Yeah.
So my friend is his best friend.
Ras.
Yeah. So
next time when he's playing in Manchester, bro, then the VIP things are there. Yeah, back room. Yeah, sorted. You have to come down. So for me, I love West African music. So I see Africa as I don't subscribe to the colonial borderlines. So I see Africa as West Africa, Southern Africa, North Africa, East Africa, Central Africa. I really love a lot of the music and the rhythms that come out of West Africa. I love South African music. I've always loved South African music. I like the different styles of South Africa. But I genuinely like, because I like up-tempo. So growing up in the UK, mine was jungle to garage to broken beat new jazz. So broken beat. Exactly. So then my musical taste translated, but I like my music to have elements of soul, elements of funk, elements of a badass beat and bass lines, right? So I love Afro house music from Southern Africa. I'll have to send you some mix. I'll have to send you.
Yeah.
Parts of it is spiritual, parts of it is pure beats. It's so similar to like Afro beat, but the beat is just a bit faster. There's a style of music called Guam. I like some Guam. So it is GQUM. You can get that Guam if you type that into.
Okay.
I can send it to you. But Afro house music, especially from like 5 or 6 years ago. We're talking about Black Coffee when he was back in the day. Now he makes Ibiza beats, and Ibiza beats are not hitting me. You know, the Africanness is they've stripped the Africanness out of it, bro, and they made it more like blandy. You know what I mean? I'm not about I need that to hit me. So we're talking about DJs like Kula the Song. We're talking about people like Prince Kembe. You know what I mean? I'm sure Prince Kembe, you must have heard some of these beats. You know what I mean? And there's more other DJs. But I like Southern African music and West Africa. But I am even more deeper than that, bro. I'm a Fela Kuti man. Fela is here. I mean, next time I'll show you. But over there on my wall, it's a Fela wall. I've got a poster of Fela doing this. I think he's one of his 1970s. I think it was Glastonbury when he played in the UK with his bold hands up, man. Fellas, man. And then I've seen Femi Kuti, his son, and Sean Kuti, both of them. Like, I've seen Femi Kuti about 5 or 6 times that I've seen him. So I love old Afrobeat, not just new Afrobeat, but old Afrobeat, where you got about 10 musicians, 3 dancers, and bare bottles of water are going off.
Yeah.
Water is going off.
So I mean, obviously everyone's got to see an insight in yourself. So obviously we see yourself on Straight Jacket podcast, the European show, Aaron United, who hosts both of them. Obviously, so we'll follow this as well, and JV and them, man. Shout out to them and Stro. People in the comments, you know, we've got a few minutes left. Please try and get your questions into Nuradin.
I just want to put something. I'm just saying, the next couple of weeks that United Real Therapy is coming.
Oh, really?
A YouTube channel is coming. I'm just working on it.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, listen, bitznbobz just got the exclusive, everyone. We just got the exclusive. Oh, I look forward, and I will be subscribing. I've got questions out here. Glazers out. Nuradin, could you see the Glazers ever leading?
Only if they're ever bought by a billionaire. If we're bought by another billionaire, and the money's too good, because I think a year currently they make £85 million from Man United a year. That's how much they take out of Man United. So
that's a Harry Maguire every year, guys.
Yeah, that's a Harry Maguire exactly. Well, yeah, that level. I mean, that's an absolute rip-off. That's an absolute rip-off. It was a rip-off, and I said it from day one, bro. I called it out. I said, this guy is slow. This guy is not worth 85 million. And I'm telling you now, even till this day now, in that Leicester boardroom, they've got Maguire posters plastered everywhere. That Leicester boardroom is absolutely covered wall to wall. And they're still sitting there making a cup of tea like, go and make another one. And they're still doing the head shake. They're looking at each other going, yes, we've sold him. 80 million.
Do you know what I will say on that, yeah? What I will say on that was that for me, at the time, and I'm saying this to the guys in group chats, on what evidence is he the man? I mean, he's simple. Look, we've got him now. It is what it is. He's a slight better defender than Lindelof. I still think Lindelof on the ball is just a bit better than him. I think Harry's more physical at a push, literally at a push.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, do you know what, Nuradin? Like, we were talking about racism and the content and stuff. We need to talk about the board. Who said to Ed Woodward, do you know what, mate? I think 85 million will get you Harry Maguire.
And the biggest thing about it is that they said no to Mourinho on Maguire. What would have been cheaper? And we bought it for Solskjaer. So when people go, this is officially Solskjaer signing, I'm like, no, actually, it was more the club that he was the guy that everybody wanted to sign. You know what I mean?
100%. There's the next question here, Nuradin, from TSA_03A. What is your dream transfer window?
My biggest transfer window is signing the best sporting director available. The most qualified, I said it to everybody. When Man United signed the footballing director, the best out there, then I will be absolutely static, because I will know then the signings and the structure of the football club would drastically improve.
TSA again says, wish we got Ruben Diaz.
You know what? I've got to give it Saeed. You know what? Saeed of the, United Central and then the Straight Jacket podcast, me and him were talking about defenders. This is about 2 seasons ago almost. And Diaz is a player that he wanted more than Lindelof. So, yeah. And now Diaz is the leader now. I see. Diaz, I was saying it. I said it on the Good Vibes today. I was saying it on that podcast. I was saying before Diaz got into the team, man like John, what's his name, Stones, was working at Cisco. He retired football because we're not seeing him play for City. All of a sudden, Diaz comes into the City game. He brings Stones out of retirement, because that's how much of a leader he is and an organizer he is. So it's
we can't. Do you know what, organizer? You can't. You have to elaborate on that, Nuradin, because do you know I play centre mid, right? And do you know if you lost possession? When I lost possession, I knew I had monsters behind me. You know, I knew I had. Excuse the pun. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. But when I say monsters, I mean physical organizations, presence, and football smart guys. No nonsense. That I knew if I lost the ball and I was like, I knew they'll bail me out. And an organizer, and this is one thing, right? I feel like we do you know when I played football, right? It was all about character. It was like, what's he like? Is he quiet? Does he talk? Does he organize? And when you play centre back, you are physically telling another human being, football-wise, what to do. Yeah. Go there, do that, because it benefits the whole back four. You know, we can go back to George Graham, how he done his back four with Tony Adams, Winterburn, Dixon, and Keown. Organization, and that's why I think like we'll never see players like Company, Rio Vida, what's the boy, Ledley King, the boy at Leicester, Wes Morgan, organization where it's just like get out. And I hate to do this, but if Harry Maguire against Everton had just look, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? But see, when I look at that picture, we know the picture where he's still at the back and everyone. If Harry Maguire is saying to everyone, as soon as that ball's kicked out, you rush out. Let me be the last man, and I'll play him offside. That's for me. That's the fine margin. That's the difference between a great centre back. Because look, great centre backs these days are trying to be midfielders. They all want to pass, you know, do the 29, zinging the ball, defend first, my friend. Okay,
yeah. That's why you're a defender. That's why, and that's why I was talking about Alisson, and I'm like, Alisson, you're a goalkeeper for a reason. You're not a footballing goalkeeper. You're a goalkeeper for a reason, right? Be the goalkeeper. Whack the ball out. Don't try to pass it. Don't try to be too clever. Whack the ball out for a throw-in. Then you can organize. To me, he's not a leader. Like I said, it's been out there. I've been clipped up already. You know what I mean? I've said it. Harry Maguire is much of a leader that his dog leads. His dog takes him out for a walk, bro. His dog takes him out for a walk. That's how much of it. His dog gets the dog lead, and says, you're taking me out for a walk. Because he's not a leader, bro. There's nothing about Harry Maguire. We've watched football. You've played football. There's nothing you could see in that game that you could see. Bailly, because of the madness that he does, because of he's the leader because he's aggressive. He's always going out to pressure. But he's not an organizer. Harry Maguire is not an organizer. And the funniest thing is for me is that I've seen a Rio Ferdinand, I think Rio's 5, you know, this Channel 5. He was analyzing it. He was on there with YouTubers, and he was talking about it, and he said, we would always leave, like Vida would say, we agree as a team. Vida, you attack the ball. We will attack the ball, but you attack the ball more than you have. Anyway, just just read that out. I just missed it. What's she asking? She's asking a question.
No. I think what she said. It was basically she was saying that you need shout out to Lauren. She was saying you need Leicester's as in sporting director. They snap all the young prospects. Ricardo, Manson.
Listen, I've already said thanks, Lauren. I've already said Leicester, Wolverhampton, Everton. There's countless other teams who are not big as Man United who've got a better football instructor than Man United. Forget about the top 9, 8 top European teams, which we used to be in, which we're supposed to rub shoulders with. In the Premier League, teams that have a more budget than us, smaller budget than us, have a better footballing structure than Manchester United. And that, to me, shows it. And I said it on the Good Vibes podcast. Man United, Ferguson was everything. Ferguson was the sporting director. He was the general manager. He was the head of recruitment. He was the scouts. He was all. He was doing it all. And then all the other jobs, he got real professionals, real experts to do those jobs for him. And David Moyes, who's a fraudster, we saw it last night in that first half. It's the FA Cup tie, knockout tie, and he plays those players when he's got people like Lanzini and the other brother. You know, I couldn't believe it. When he's got them on the bench, he just showed it for me. It's a knockout game. Man United have just had a dreadful result, right?
Get them.
Where Everton had 3 attacks, 3 goals. and here's you doing what you're doing, ruining a football game live on TV, where everybody will just sleep. Everybody just sat down to eat their tea. Everybody's there eating it, watching that. Everybody's falling asleep, bro. Everybody was falling asleep. So to me, it shows. So Man United, they have that. They literally, other clubs have a better footballing structure than us. They have that. They have that. The guy that was at Leicester, he's from Manchester actually. Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
I think he's still at RP Leipzig. I think he might be at Leipzig still. Like,
I know he left Leicester. I don't know what club he went to.
I think he went to RP Leipzig. I think he went to RP Leipzig, right? So why can't we get him? There's Mochi, who's the Sevilla. Mochi's
the favorite guy.
Yeah. There are people in France. I think there's a sporting director at Lille. You know what I mean? So they're out there. Why don't we go and get the best people for the job? But instead, brother, we've got Richard Arnold, Matt Judge, and Ed Woodward.
Do you know what's funny? You said something, Nuradin. Ferguson would get the best people to deal with the certain situations. You know, when it came to contracts, David Gill and so on, the scoutings and stuff like that. It's interesting, isn't it? If managers took that advice with their players, putting their best players in their best positions to be effective. Football's really a very simple game. Yeah. and tactics as well. And when I say that, I mean tactics on and off the pitch with recruitment. And if Nuradin, I'm the gaffer and you're the sporting director, and it comes to like, oh, I really want Jack Grealish, all right, I'll go speak to him. Why would I go and speak to someone if I know I've got you that can deal with stuff like that? You know, this is the thing, and like this is why I think people don't realize how good Fergie was. Mm-hmm. He done everything. Him and David Gill was a partnership, and unfortunately, society and life today, that will never happen. You will not have someone that can control everything. I don't think it's physically possible anymore, because football's just bigger now. European-wise, the scouting worldwide. You know, you're getting players from Brazil, South America, Mexico, North America, and so on. But listen, Nuradin, I'm worried about the time. And I'm going to say a huge thank you for coming on. Seriously,
bro, it's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. It's been really good to chew the fat with you, brother. You know,
100%. I know. Oh, 100%. And like, you know, there was a comment there. I think it was by Lauren that says, you know, when Nuradin speaks, you just listen because you speak so well. And it's not, you know, like that's lovely when people say we speak so well, but it's because you're knowledgeable. And I think Nuradin, from what I've seen on YouTube, for me, you're the advert. I've seen it all. I've done it. I've heard it, and I've said it when it comes to football. And I feel I've been supporting Man United since I was like 4 years old. So what we're talking 1992, 93, right? So football's the same thing. It's still the ball kicked into the net. You know, all the controversial stories, the scandals were happening in those days, but it's just happening now because it's recorded and technology. And I feel like you've seen it also. I mean, my last question to you: this football stuff, this nonsense, the love, the beautiful game we call, is it just a conveyor belt, just a cycle of the stories, the tragics, the ups and downs and stuff? Well, in 10 years, will we be still talking the same things?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what makes football so riveting is the fact that if you're into, like I said, I'm into films and I'm into thrillers, I'm into drama, and football is drama. Football is unscripted 90 minutes drama, and it's got so many. You've got all of the opponents. You got, you know, you've got even the pantomime, you know, villain. You've got the referee. Everybody, when the fans can go. The fans can go. But one thing we realized about football, I think, one thing the COVID has shown, football without fans ain't never going to be the same, bro.
100%.
To me, people are trying to change football, too much of it. If they mess about, because obviously the hardcore corporations have took over the game no longer belongs to the people, innit? It is the multinational corporations that have control of it.
It's a business now, isn't it? Yeah,
it's the billionaire class that have just come in. The football was something that played by hooligans, watched by hooligans. You know what I mean? That's how they used to see it. But then they start, wow, it's a massive money generator. It generates money. And for me, when he strip everything away, it is that 90 minutes, 95 minutes unscripted drama. That's what football is, and that's why we love it, because you've got to be a hero. You've got the hero. You've got the villains. You've got the people who are quite passive. So it's got all of the elements of what we think a thriller, a drama, a riveting story is. But I think nowadays it's getting a bit too much. And I will say this to you because there'll be a video. I'll be doing a video, and you need to return the favor. I'll be inviting you to my channel. Once my channel's set up, I'll be definitely inviting you to talk. I think football now has become too much machinery. I think the flair is gone. The flair is gone. The natural flair is gone. I think the way fans watch football has changed. The way that fans are conditioned to think about football has changed, because the artistry is gone and it's become too much mechanical.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. I am aware of the time, so I will be quick. But they're putting all the flair players wide. Have you noticed that? All the players with flair and panache, Mavericks, they're slightly Kai Havertz. I see him playing wide right. I see James Rodriguez playing wide right. I'm like, when I watch football, we had a player called Hadji. We had players called Pirlo. Pirlo couldn't sprint, okay? And guys, trust me, go on your YouTube. This player, Andrew Pirlo, I watched him live in Italy, and I watched him live in Fulham's ground when he played against Nigeria. This guy didn't sprint, okay? Zinedine Zidane, people don't realize, my guy was 6'1", 6'2", moved so fast.
Kaka.
There you go, Kaka. Like, oh my God, these are central midfield players with flair. We're not even going to get to Ronaldinho. And a culture and on all them, man.
Roberto Baggio.
Well, there you go, Del Piero. Do you know what Del Piero can do? Touch, bend it, top court. Like, the thing is now, like, you're right. All the players are industrial.
Don't forget Eric, the king, man.
Do you know what I mean? And like now, football's so industrial. The runners, the athletic players. You know, I remember. Do you remember? Was it Di Canio?
Yeah.
Di Canio would tell you if you fancy playing today. And do you know what I mean? It's like those are the things, and we are going to miss that, unfortunately. Nuradin, look, I know about the time. I know you're a busy guy. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. I've watched you as a big fan, so for me today, it's actually a big deal for me and my family, because it's like, wow, you know. And also to be able to speak to you as well and hit you up is just, Vibes FC, look, that's facts. Probably would be called lazy in today's game. A dictator, you know, an exceptional talent. Thank you so much for coming on.
Can I say about Pirlo? Ferguson never hardly ever told, because Ferguson would focus mainly about what Man United can do, not what the other team can do. One of the only players in all the different teams Ferguson built at Man United, where Ferguson specifically instructed, right, Song, right, Park Si-sung, right, go on man mark Pirlo out the game. Because Pirlo will run the game, and it was all about one touch, two touch. He can hit it for 40 yards. He can play that through ball. He can hit it out what? He can keep possession. He can dictate the game.
Set pieces. And, you know, there was a ridiculous stat. I think he didn't lose a home game. Or match. He didn't lose a game for like, I don't know, something like 5, 6, 7 years or something.
And I'm not seeing those players anymore, bro. I'm not seeing those players anymore. I am not. And that's the saddest thing. I am in football. I think there are too many kids now of a certain age. As soon as you get 7, they got a little bit of talent. Get them into academy. Get them into academy. They're coaching all of the silky stuff, that instinctive out of them. And that to me is the saddest thing. There has to be, I think those things can be coached into you. And if you got it in you, it can be brought out even more. And there's not enough clubs doing that. There's not enough clubs doing that.
But do you know why you're doing? It's because you can't play in the street anymore. You can't play in the garden, jumpers for goalposts. Your bikes. If you didn't want to put your jumper down, it was mud. You put your bike upside down. It was goals. You don't play in the kickabout, you know. That's like,
any neighborhood, you see no balls allowed. And I'm like, what? And then you look at it, I mean, this is even government policy. Then all of the green spaces. So some kids might not even have a park next to them. They don't even have a little bit of green in it, because all of them, if they live in central cities, if they live in the central parts of cities, there's no parks. Yeah. There's no big parks. There's no fields to go and play football, to express yourself. So It's
And if
really,
you want to do it now, you need to pay the power leagues.
and then yes.
Do you know what I mean? Listen, on that note,
And the love for football, bro, is exactly the same thing to me. There's three things, right? There's three things that are universal languages. There's football, there's music, and there's weed. The reason why I'm saying I'm not a weed smoker, and I'm not saying people to smoke weed, but I'm just saying to you, you can be anywhere around the world in a party, somebody be smoking a joint, and they'll be like, do you what? They don't even have to speak the same language as you. You go anywhere around the world. The reason why football is the people, it's the beautiful game, and it belongs to the people, even though the billionaires control it now, it's because you can just get 2 socks, you can get any piece of material, you can get a couple of plastic bags, wrap them tightly together, and that becomes the ball. Anything, 2 rocks, 1 stick, they can become the goals. Do you know what I mean? And then it's played. So it's not even the material. You don't need too much material. You can make the materials there from what's out in nature to be able to have a game of kickabout of football. So
100%.
that to me it is a big part of what football is. You know what I mean? Football is that. Those things are universal languages, and football is a universal. I've got friends who've been to see some tribes in the Amazon, right? These certain tribes that they're not that much in contact with people, right? And the Amazon spans through Brazil. These are the different countries as well. And their kids there are playing a little bit of game football with just like socks. They just put socks in together and they're kicking about. And that's and that is the universality about football. And that's why we love it all. That's why we love it.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Everyone in the cut, make sure you smash a like. If you're new, please subscribe. Household rules. Nuradin, please tell the people your socials where they can find you.
It's Mr. Structure, that guy Red Devil. Find me. Come on, get that therapy. You get it raw, you get it real. When I'm feeling like rant to get things off my chest, I go all in. And people will come at me and call me a clown or whatever. It's those sort of things. For me, I can be reactionary, I can be hilarious, I can be football can bring all these different emotions out.
Unfortunately,
I never try to suppress any of these emotions. So if I'm if I've watched something, I need to rant about it, I rant about it. If I've seen something, it makes me laugh, I have to laugh about it. And that's where it all lies, bro. But it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed chewing the fat with you. Like I said, you know, it is this won't be the last, and definitely we will connect.
Oh, 100%, 100%. You're stuck with me now, Nuradin. 100%. 100%.
But you know, I'm genuinely hoping to meet when we can come out of this lockdown and everything.
Oh, of course.
See each other, you know. I mean, next time you come up, hopefully come up for the football match, and you know. I mean,
listen, I'll sleep on the sofa. Don't worry, it's all good. Anyway, thanks for everyone watching. Peace. Take care.